meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Boss,
Present.
Pipia,
Here.
Graham, Hughes,
Present.
Fry, Schroller,
Here.
Throm,
Here.
Barnes.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you for being here. Just so you know, there is a corrected agenda on your desk, and the only change is that it's showing that the reason we're having a PBC is for the bond and interest payment. And that's the only change from the one that you received in the agenda packet. All right, the first item would be the minutes from July 22nd. Does anyone have any amendments? Yes, Diane?
Well, when I asked about I asked if we could just limit the amount of time spent on discussion items. I didn't say, it's on page 6 of 7. She said it said Councilman Schroller asked if we could limit it to something about the 15 minutes, and I didn't say anything about 15-minute limit. I just asked if we could just limit the discussion time.
Yes.
There was a time limit during the discussion. You just want the 15-minute taken out?
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't say anything about whether we'd limit it to 15 minutes. I just asked if we could limit the discussion time. That was when we were discussing the tennis courts.
So if we could limit
That was number 4 on page 6 of 7.
Okay, so if the city could limit, okay. Or the mayor, I guess it would be the mayor. Okay, does anybody else have a change? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes with that one amendment.
Move to approve the regular minutes, July 22nd, 2019, with amendments.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. The next item is the special meeting minutes. Are there any amendments? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve special meeting on July 29th, 2019.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. The next item is the public comments. If you are not on the agenda and you would like to speak, you can come to the podium and you can have 5 minutes and give your name, your address, and your ward. All right, we'll move along to business and discussion items then. The first item is at 1139 Keystone Road with Kate and Dexter Spitznagel. Do you want to come to the podium? Did I say your right? I pronunciated it just like it looks. Spitznagel? Yep. Okay.
So we're looking at trying to build a house on 1139 Keystone Road. Currently it's not in city limits. We're unsure of the sewer and water situation for the lot. So we'd like to understand if we need to be annexed to get water and sewer, or if we can stay out of city limits and still get water and sewer, or how we need to deal with our situation for sewer. If there's a possibility of getting annexed, we want to understand the timeline for that, because if we were to do laterals or a lagoon, obviously it costs money now. We don't want to have to change it in the near future. So I guess we just want to kind of better understand the situation for that lot.
Okay, and we are blessed with some questions you had and responses. Did you get a copy of those?
Yeah, we printed off the questions that we
Okay.
sent.
And the blue, did you respond to them?
Have you seen what was in our agenda? Well, we responded, but not like we responded to you.
Okay.
So I can give
So
them,
you don't have these responses?
well, they do, but not like this. I can go print them for them.
Yeah, I don't think we have an extra copy anywhere. Why don't you print them so they have them?
Okay. Hang on. Let
Will
me
that
go
take
get 'em.
just a minute?
Oh, just a second.
Okay, sorry.
Yep.
I think the biggest thing is that the sewer stops at the top of the hill, I think 2 lots to the west. So what we've been kind of told is that if we hook the city water, or city sewer, we have to put a grinder pump in to pump it up the hill. So the cost of a grinder pump is like $7,000. We know that the future plan is to run sewer to the Keystone Addition. So for us to spend $7,000 now and possibly in a couple of years or maybe even sooner for that to be ran to the Keystone Addition, knowing that we could gravity feed into that pipeline, I guess it just doesn't make sense to me, but
Have you explained like the water and the sewer, Austin, to them? Have you had discussions with them at all?
They've been talking with Cindy and David about it.
Okay, so Dave has shown you where the water lines are and the sewer lines at the current time? So water, Dave, you want to come up just for a minute?
I guess we haven't seen a map of exactly where the sewer is at. We've seen that the water line goes in front of the lot along the road.
Okay, so you understand the water isn't going to be a problem because it's right there on your property already?
Right.
Okay, and the pictures that we received, that you will receive soon, although I don't think the sewer shows on this map, does it, Austin?
I don't think so.
Dave, does the sewer show on page 13, this map?
This page that you gave us, I didn't make a copy of that. This is Keystone,
Yes, that's it.
and the sewer sits,
Sewer is 200,
it's
it doesn't
220
show on here, but the
from-
sewer is 220 feet I measured
in the
today,
road. It's in the road.
in the middle of the road from the corner of that property.
Okay, so it would be like in front of 1 or 2 or 6, where would it be?
It's gonna be right, you know where Shelby
It'd be in front of Harmer's.
It would be in front of the Harmers, okay.
Yeah.
Basically where that diagonal line runs through the orange there, Dave? Is that where you measured from?
Yes, from the northwest corner.
Okay.
So, you were here when were you on staff when we did East Side Sewer? And was it always the intent to, from 11th Terrace, to attach to that manhole? And then once we developed east of 11th Terrace, to have it gravity flow down? Was that the intent? So
If it
that,
ever got developed with Keystone all the way up, and all that property hooks into it.
so this lot and the one to the east is supposed to feed to the manhole? And the way it was
That's the
planned?
only place it can feed to right now.
Okay, and then once we develop east of 11th Terrace, then it can change?
And you're still gonna have to put sewer in halfway through Keystone Addition.
Okay,
The ones on the north side, the two on the north side did,
both the two developments,
yeah.
And-
Temps and Prot.
and the manhole can accommodate possibly 4 more homes?
Yeah, they put 3, in fact, when they did those two, they put a third inlet already for the house right on the corner,
Okay,
east of Crocs.
anticipating that? Okay, well, you're at a big disadvantage because you don't know all the answers to your questions there. But basically, what it said was that, according to our code book, that when you access our public sewer, that basically we have the right to annex you, basically. And the cost and we charge people, you're a part of the East Side Sewer District, and everyone in there has paid this 5848, which was was an assessment per lot. And back when we did this, I think it cost $3.8 million to get all the East Side sewer into the city. So that's trying to recoup some of that $3.8 million on a lot-by-lot household. So,
I guess, can we opt out of getting city sewer?
well, I don't
Stay
know
out of-
why
Stay
we...
out of city limits, I guess, until it gets ran down the road.
Well, according to the way the code rights is written now, we require it. And unless you could make a justifiable reason to be different. But the problem is, if we would let you opt out, then the house to the east, whenever that's built, would never be, we're setting ourselves up to change what was initially planned. I guess that's what I could say.
Yeah, the limits wouldn't be contiguous to the city.
That's right. That's our problem, is we didn't do contiguous units in Keystone, so we shouldn't probably replicate that mistake.
And that would be a bad decision too.
Now, Cindy told me that when you pay that $58.48, that you don't have to pay a sewer hookup fee. Do you agree with that, Dave? The $1,000, or was that a question for you, Austin?
Think that, I mean,
That's how we read.
that includes this.
That includes the $1,000
The hookup?
Connection.
connection. There's another fee, but the $1,000 one
Is waived when you pay the
it's
$58.48?
part of the 58.
So on all other homes that aren't in the East Side Sewer District, there's a tap, but yours isn't. Actually, it's the Keystone Edition, isn't it, specifically? So the Keystone Edition has that $1,000 tap fee, but you wouldn't, because you're on Keystone Road, not Keystone Edition.
So we'd have to pay the $5,800 plus the cost of a grinder pump?
Yes, they own the grinder.
Everybody pays for their own grinder pump?
Yes, and they bring their own lines, just like, well, you'd have to bring your own line no matter what. If you put water and sewer in, wherever you take it to from your house, you have to pay for it.
So what's the timeline of running the sewer pipe from that manhole down to the Keystone Edition?
Is that a Dave question or
That,
Austin?
it's been
That could be many years.
lots of
Many,
years.
I
many,
guess we've
many
talked
years.
It's whenever the property owner decides.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're not talking to get it to your property. You're saying when it becomes a gravity flow?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it would be,
That could be.
we've been told, stay away from grinder pumps as much as possible from multiple.
Have they had any problems with the grinder pumps out there?
It's another piece of equipment to handle your stuff. I mean, that's basically what it is.
We would never know if they had a problem because
Right.
that's theirs.
That's their problem, yeah.
Yeah.
Not to be so callous.
There are several out there. I would say Keystone, no, that area that's not, doesn't have the sewer in yet is not even final platted, so
that's gonna be a long
until
time.
he gets the other built up more, he probably won't plat anymore, so. Final plat, it's preliminary platted, but not put the final plat on.
And just so you know, the property to the north there, we would probably require the same thing, that contiguous property to that development. We wouldn't want them to opt out, we probably wouldn't allow them to opt out either when that's developed all the way to 11th Terrace. So, it's just not in our best interest.
No, I understand the city's point of it, it's just hard for us, because, I mean, it's out of city limits now, and I guess we're being told we have to pay $5,800 to tap into the city, even though technically we don't want to.
You can have that assessed over 10 years. You don't have to pay that up front, right, Cindy?
Right.
So FYI, that makes it more
And
palatable.
it doesn't cost as much as drilling a well and putting in laterals. Marlene Stom told us that laterals would cost $8,000 to $10,000 and a well would cost $3,000.
So I talked
So-
to B&W in Hanover and had them take a look at it, and they said that doing laterals is $6,000 and doing a grinder pump is $6,000. So it's a wash between
So that's
the
a
two,
wash.
But then we have to pay the $5,800 to tap into
Right.
the city. So that's what.
Well, you don't have the lateral cost though then. Yeah.
No, but we have the grinder pump cost.
Right.
So
But you can do this over a 10-year period and we don't charge interest.
appreciate that.
And Mr. Hughes pointed out to me today, which is something I never thought about, he said it lowers your insurance because you're in the city limits, so you're on our
Your
water.
fire insurance,
Because you're on our water and it runs there.
so you have our
So I
insurance
I
rate.
did not know that. I did
Does
not know
that
that.
offset the taxes? Does that offset the city taxes?
It offsets your costs.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah.
So more or less, I guess it's decided that we have to go to city sewer, and since we have to do that, it's gonna be annexed. Is that more or less the decision? I mean,
Yeah, if you want our sewer, the way the law reads now, if you want our sewer, they can have water without it, but if you want our sewer, you have to be annexed. And we would probably, I mean, and I think you guys would all agree that we would want to have them annexed rather than have you be an exception.
so as soon as we decide to put a house there, it will be annexed. At 5 acres? Is that correct?
How does that work, Dave? Did
Well,
we?
you come to do a consent annex. That's that paper in there.
Oh, there's
You
a
come
one
to
page,
ask
did you
us,
give
you're
them a
gonna put
copy of that?
Yes,
When you do the
that
consent,
consent,
they get water, don't they?
or sewer.
Or sewer.
It says water or sewer.
Okay.
That's that consent paper, I showed you that.
But
one
I'm
did
just, I guess I'm saying, as soon as we decide we want to put a house there, we have to do the consent form, even if we don't want to do city sewer and we would do laterals ourselves. Because you guys are saying. you
The
guys
city,
would
we have to,
annex
we have to sign off on you putting laterals in, because according to,
Our code book.
no, not our
Or
code book.
Marlene Stamm.
Marlene Stamm, the county health person, they give us, if you're within 400 feet, we have to sign off. If we, and if it was up to them, from what I hear, and this is just me speaking from my experience, they'd prefer you be on a sewer.
When it's so close to it?
Yeah, yeah. So rather than having to rely on a lateral or a lagoon or something like that, they prefer a maintained system by municipality over anything else.
So if it's outside 400 feet, though?
You're within 200, you're 220 feet away.
The property is.
Yeah.
From the manhole?
It's not what we wanted here, because that's the most expensive option, but obviously we want an answer. That's kind of what we needed
Yep.
tonight. I mean, we can't move forward with anything, which we'd like to do, but
Would it, this might be a dumb question, but this next lot to the east that's empty right now, right? Would it be possible that you could work something out where you could put in, like, say, one grinder station, those two lots share that? Would that be possible?
Have they ever shared grinder pumps?
Did they not? I'm just asking, are there
That'd
any
be
places
basically
where
a lift station.
you share?
Granger's pump is a small
That would
station.
be, if that lot ever sold, they could talk to the people who bought it.
Yeah, both of them
But
would
that
gravity flow into that
But that's
grinder station,
not
and from
our-
there out.
I mean,
Does anybody have any shared
That'd
ones
probably
out
more,
there?
that'd be more
They
for
would-
the
they would
developer, but
probably
I'm just
have to have a really
saying,
good agreement.
I know,
share
I
the
fe-
grinder station and you,
if they knew somebody
Less
wanted to build a
cost.
house beside them.
yeah.
I know there was a few out there over the years when they did that share the line, and they all had their own.
And we don't,
The prices in that house where Subway was there, those went into the same line over to the gravity flow, but they both had their own pits out there.
I was gonna say, because they really don't do community lines for water or sewer anymore. Because that's a
Yeah, because when
major
Groton
problem.
and Timpson those did that, and thinking about selling the east one, Sir Borges wanted me to put all three of those for separate.
We're separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which probably makes
Otherwise,
sense.
one fails
Just an idea.
sometime,
Yeah.
the other ways.
Don't we have that problem
Yeah, that makes sense.
up where you used to live, Darlene, where everybody was on the same line?
Yeah,
Right.
three
Yeah,
houses.
Yeah, so I don't-
Make them separate them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd want to share that.
That's why
Water.
when it gets more than one
Just
house
hooked together.
or location attached to a grinder pump, it's a lift station. So and that's controlled by us. I mean, that's,
I mean, we don't want to discourage you. We welcomed you to our community. We just,
we wish there was an easier answer. But
yeah,
it's hard that there's no future, I guess, knowledge of when that's gonna connect and become gravity flow for us, because obviously once that connects, I'd rather just get rid of the grinder pump at that point and gravity flow, because having to deal with a mechanical sewer system is not what I want.
Dave, when did Keystone go in? How many years ago? Do you know, Darlene, do you remember?
No, I wasn't involved.
I was gonna say probably
Thousands, probably.
04, what'd you say?
I'd say around 2004.
Four.
sometime in there.
And there's a small percentage of the lots that have been built on,
Yeah.
so.
not very many.
So I guess with us going on there, is there, I guess, a future plan for roads out there? I mean, I know that we've heard things too, but I guess we've talked to a couple people around the area, and I said it was worth asking about the roads, because if more people are paying taxes in that area, the road's gonna be
True,
more
True.
of a focus, I guess.
true,
And
true.
again,
Well-
that is something that generally those who live along the roads have to participate in the costs.
So we are in the process of, just an update for everyone. So the city qualified for CDBG funding, which streets are one of the ones that they do help fund, which would help pay possibly 50% of the cost. But we have a situation out there where we have shared roads, township and city in some of those areas. So I met with the township, Marysville Township Board, and they have agreed that I can survey the people that will benefit that are outside the city. And so we have to survey those. Once we survey, but that has to be 100% participation. And once we survey those, then we can decide how many of the roads we can do with CDBG funding and which ones won't qualify if we don't meet the lower to moderate income on those 9 homes, or 8 homes. 8 or 9 homes, we haven't decided for sure what the number is. But you don't have a home there yet, so you wouldn't come into play on that survey because we hope to do that soon. The point of doing that is just a shot to have the entire section a U shape of 11th Road, Keystone to 12th Road all done. And if that doesn't come to fruition for that target survey, then we will have to figure out what will qualify for CDBG funding, and that's what we'll do probably first, because that would help us possibly with 50% of the cost. So we're working on it. I know that's probably not the answer you want to hear. We're working on it. It's a work in process, and the next step is for us to survey those township homes.
Okay. So I guess to your point, what is the thought of having all those homes pay toward that road, I guess? Now that we're looking at these fees, what other fees, I guess, are we looking at going into this?
Well, that is a possibility that, if we get a grant, then there's still probably 50% of it that, and say, for instance, North Park up here, I think it was over 20 years that they paid for the streets. Do you remember, Dave? Was it 10?
Usually
10
they're
or
10.
20?
Usually they're 10, and every street in this town that was built by the people who live along it. So in other words, every residential area, every area, whoever owned the homes up and down the road when they were first done are paid for by the people who live there. And then after that, the city takes them over and pays for them. Like the streets in the Keystone Edition were put in by the guy who owns that was doing Keystone Edition. I mean, that's just how streets work.
So that's how they normally work in a contiguous area.
Right.
Every other housing development has been a contiguous area, so it made sense to have them pay for it. Now, what we've done is we have annexed property that's not adjacent to other city property, and we're trying to figure out how to deal with that. So that's where we are in trying to figure out, and we did have a meeting of the people that live on those roads. We had a really good turnout. Some of them have been here as long as 17 years, and they're pretty adamant that they've been paying taxes for 17 years, and they don't think they should have to pay for the road after paying taxes for 17 years. So we are trying to figure out what funding we can find to subsidize the cost of the roads, and then we'll have another meeting and talk about it and try to figure out, what would be a fair assessment. If from that meeting, they wanted 0 assessment, so maybe we can come in some number that everyone will accept, but that's a conversation down the road once we find out if we can get some CDBG funding to offset 50% of the cost. That'd be a big plus, so we have to go that route first. I know they just threw some cold mix down there. Their streets are a lot better out there.
Yeah, they've been-
Actually, I hate to say that. I don't know if you drove out there very much, but they really are pretty nice. I drove out there just the other day and I go, well, these are pretty nice right now, so.
They are 35 miles an hour because it is residential, just so you know that. that-
30 mile
30.
an hour.
Or 30 miles,
30.
sorry.
I was gonna say
Because they are residential.
You're driving.
I'm driving 35 in my Jeep, it's okay. I bounce around a lot.
So that's kind of the status of the roads. They're in discussion, but nothing's been decided yet.
But still a possible in the future of another fee.
Of assessment.
Possibly, but you would be a part of that discussion. How about that?
Now, there are some nice lots in town that all the specials are gone.
There is that.
We're both from country, so.
So
We
you
were-
want
we were-
the country living,
Yeah.
but not the gravel roads and,
Well, I don't like gravel road, but
Or out in Keystone.
But thank you for the option.
thanks for the offer. Okay.
Good?
Yeah,
All
I think
right.
our
I think
questions
that's-
answered.
Well, we hope to see an ordinance in here that you're being annexed in. How about that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
All right. The next one is an ordinance for the text amendment that we discussed, and then the planning and zoning had a meeting and had a public hearing on, and so it's ready to go.
Move to approve ordinance 1880 on setting the tower height at 30 feet.
I second it.
Dave, did you want to share something on this?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Is there any discussion? Roll call?
Boss,
Yes.
Pipia,
Yes.
Hughes, Schroller,
Yes.
Thrum,
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
6-0.
All right. The next item is the demo incentive. The first one is, shall we do the second one first, Dave? We'll do the one at 505 Spring first, please. And this is, it's owned by Ronald Swinneman. Is there anything you want to add to us, tell us about this, Dave?
Because he didn't come, did he? He was supposed to come, but, no, he just came in and wanted to see about getting this taken down, and I think it does need taken down.
Yeah, I don't think we've got, actually condemned it, but I drove by it and it looks pretty bad there, so I think it's a blessing he'll tear it down.
Been an eyesore for years down there.
Yeah, yeah. You guys have any questions to Dave about that? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the incentive of $2,500, up to $2,500 for the demo cost.
Move to approve the demo incentive for 505 Spring up to 2,500.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. All right, then I asked Cindy if hers is in the next one, so we're having Cindy go down to and stand with Dave. We're making her go down. And the main reason when you look at hers is the one that's listed on 16 and 17 and 18. And hers, when you look at it first glance, looks a lot better than the one we just approved. So I thought Cindy should share why this is blighted.
I purchased it because their water meter is in my meter pit, which runs across my entire backyard and theirs to get to their house. And my sewer goes across my entire backyard into theirs because the sewer's in the alley. So those properties should be together. But when I wanted to purchase this, I went to Jeff Sandstrom, and when I saw it was going to be for sale, because they weren't mowing it. If you remember, this is a property that the weeds were thigh high
I did
earlier this
remember
year, and we had to pay somebody to go mow them, or convinced them in last year too. So it's been, no one lived there for a long time. They had to bring a hazmat person in full regalia because it's full of mold. As you can see, there's a tarp on the roof, and that's been there a while. And for a while, there wasn't a tarp on the roof before they put the tarp on the roof. So the entire house is full of mold, and it was condemned.
Okay.
And so it
By
was
the
condemned
was it
from the
actually-
inside out.
Was it actually condemned by the hazmat people?
Yeah, she said, yeah. So it just needs to come down. I walked in the back, Dave opened the back door. It's you don't want to go in there.
The
She's
odor.
got little notes all over the place.
You confirm that it's full of mold, Dave?
I don't know, it's mold, that kitchen is full of something.
The lady was from Seneca.
I
He
just
said
looked
they
in the
brought
back,
it.
I just looked in the back door in that kitchen. and-
It's bad.
No, I didn't go look for mold.
Okay. You guys have any questions to Cindy or Dave? No. All right. Does someone want to make a motion?
I move that the city reimburse up to $2,500 for the demolition costs of Thomas and Lucinda Holly's property at 307 South 6th Street.
Second.
Is there any further discussions or questions to Cindy or Dave? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. Thanks, Cindy. You'll have to get all that from the tape. All right. The next item is the Trail Life and American Heritage Girls Recruit Night, and Ben Throm. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah,
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight to ask for public offense code section 10-6 to be temporary, or to be suspension for it for the night of August 21st from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at Country Club Lake behind there, as you can see on the map. We are going to be shooting, if you allowed, be shooting single lever action BB guns and 15-pound draw bows into the embankment behind what would be the blue, I think, red diamond, and off to the side of the black diamond, as you see there from the map. We've talked to Chief Ackerman, and he approved this and said it would be fine. We did this last year. We had no issues. He heard no complaints about it. Everyone that would be running the stations for the BB guns is National Rifle Association Range Safety Officer certified, and we have members who are in the local Impulse Archery. They go out there and shoot, and they're within the local, can't think of the organization out there that'll be help running that to make sure everything's running safely as possible.
Well, we appreciate you making all those safety measures there. My only question was, have you checked with Brian Frogel that there's nothing going on at the fields on 821?
I have not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my only other question was, last year, did you contact the Huffmans when you did this? Since they're the nearest neighbor, you did?
Yeah, and they didn't have any issue with it last year.
Okay, and you'll let them know about
Yeah.
it? Well, those were my only concerns, so as long as Brian doesn't have anything going on at the fields and Huffmans are okay. Do you guys have any questions for Ben? So do you want to make a motion contingent on approval from Brian and Huffmans? You want to make that motion?
I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Are you
I'm
gonna,
gonna abstain.
you're gonna abstain? You're
I'm part of the
glad there's 5
I'm-
here.
I'm part of the organization, so.
I know. I was like, I think you're gonna have to stay out of this one,
Yep.
Kevin. Okay, so we have a motion, second. Does anybody have any?
Second.
Second? And does anybody have any other questions for Ben? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0, and an abstain. All right, thanks, Ben. Thanks for doing that for our kids.
Thank you.
All right, the next item is ordinance 1881, and there's a corrected version on your desk. The only difference was on section 2, the ordinance that it's repealing was changed from 1854, that was in our packet, to 1864. So you would,
18, what was that again?
we're on section 2,
Oh, okay, I see it down here.
yeah, it should say 1864, so you would approve the ordinance as amended.
Move to approve ordinance 1881, the standard traffic code
As amended.
as amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? Roll call?
Boss,
Yes.
Pipia,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Fry, Schroller,
Yes?
Rom,
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Yes, it's not here, he can't answer.
6-0?
Yes.
All right. The next item is ordinance 1882, and again, section 2, the only correction that's on your desk is section 2. It should be referencing ordinance 1865 instead of 1855. So I would entertain a motion to approve as amended. Yeah, I'm sorry?
I think you need to insert for the purpose of regulating public offenses. I think you left the word regulating out.
Where are we at?
On the first line there, it says there is hereby incorporated by reference for the purpose of regulating public offenses.
That could be, I can look it up. We just copied the one from 2 years ago. That's how we got the
Well, that would make
They would-
sense.
Yeah, it would make sense.
The
They-
purpose of
I would say our last one was incorrect. on
Well,
that.
I don't know, I got it out of the code book, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Was that the only word that was missing?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
That
thanks
I
for
found-
catching that.
That I found
Because I
anyway.
know she just copy pasted, but she used
Okay.
the one from 2 years ago, so. Okay.
All right, so thank you for reading that, Diane. So there would be, this would be the amended one
Yes, the amended
for
amendment.
1882.
Move to approve ordinance 1882 with the amendments for incorporating the Uniform Public Offense Ordinance.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Voss,
Yes.
Pipia,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yeah.
no. Stroller,
Yes.
Throm.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
6-0.
All right, thank you very much. The next section is a code of ethics from Wichita that Bobby put in. Do you want to discuss why you put that in?
Well, I think we had confusion. I think we need to, like, I was going over ours. Where is ours? Here. Executive and administrative powers. And then I got the one from the governing handbook. And in the sentence it says, "The mayor shall have superintendent control of all the officers and affairs of the city and shall take care that ordinances of the city are complied with. In addition, the mayor shall," and it goes on. But in the book, it says, "By state law, the mayor or mayor city council, second or third class, superintendent control or general supervision is in the book for the role of the mayor."
Okay, so you're just trying to change the code book wording for,
I think that we need to put in the general supervision besides superintending control.
you're at 214? I'm sorry, 1-214, where are you at?
1-250, 205.
205?
205.
Well, this example is for employees.
No. We're not, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Oh,
Here.
you're not talking about.
Well, wait,
Not yet.
you just want to make revisions to the city code and to the personnel policy?
Yes.
Okay, well, why don't you bring an amendment forward then? I don't think we want to go through item by item in here.
All right, I can do that.
So whatever amendments you want to make to the code and/or the personnel policy
Okay.
from that,
All right.
it's not directed at a specific person that we need to have an
Just
executive
straight
session on?
Straight across board for everybody. You know, everybody's in that way because it's confusing. It says one thing here and another thing here. And then, when I looked at the one from Wichita, they have some good points in there too.
Do you
So
want-
I think it's for all of us, for all the time.
Well, why don't you make what recommendation changes you want to make?
Okay.
And we can, since it's an administrative function, we'll bring it to the Finance and Admin Board,
Okay.
and then we'll bring it to the council, okay?
Got it.
Well, thanks, yes.
That's fine, that she's gonna do that, but what's what is the big mistake with
It's
first?
not a mistake. I just think that what we have in our code books should be the same as the governing body handbook. I mean, and not all of it's the same, but superintendent control or general supervision. Or we just have, and I don't know how long ago that was put in our code. It was probably a long time ago. And we have the most up-to-date book here.
Well, we can change it, so just
Yeah.
bring it to us with those changes, what you want. She just
Okay.
wants to propose a change, and we can look at it.
We can look at it. I mean,
What?
She just wants to make a proposal for a change in the code book and didn't personnel policy too, or just a code book?
We'll start with the code book.
Okay,
Okay, we'll do it in the
So-
code book, so.
so we're just gonna look at it. All right?
Okay, I was just curious what, I didn't see the reason for it, but that's fine.
Well, we'll
We're
see
gonna
what,
look at it.
yeah, when she
Yeah.
has her changes kind of outlined, then we can look at it.
Okay,
Fair enough?
fair enough.
All right. At this time, we will recess our city council meeting and call to order the PBC.
Move to recess regular council meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, so I call to order the Public Building Commission. Roll call, please.
Darlene, or Boss,
Present?
Pipia,
Present.
Graham, Hughes,
Present.
Fry, Schroller,
Present.
Rom,
Present.
Barnes.
Present.
6-0.
Yes.
Okay, so as you can tell from the amended agenda, we're proposing to make a bond principal and interest payment of the $229,932 to the Kansas State Treasurer's Office.
Move to approve payment to Kansas State Treasurer's Office, $209,932.50.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. I need a,
Move to close Public Building Commission.
is there a second?
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. So we will resume our regular order of business. The first item is the public hearing. On your desk is a corrected certificate. The one that was in your packet did not include the water and sewer revenue in the budget authority. So our budget authority will be the $11,561,473, and the ad valorem that we are requesting to levy are $2,013,477. So I would open our public hearing right now, if there's anybody who wants to ask questions about our budget for 2020. All right, well, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close the 2020 budget hearing.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. And then I need a motion to approve the certificate that's been amended, that's been presented.
I move to approve the certificate as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 6-0. All right. We should note that we kept it flat. We anticipate based on the mill levy that it should be slightly lower based on the estimated valuation. So it should be slightly lower, still staying at 67 mills for the 2020 budget. The other thing I want, as far as a notice, is the traffic meeting, which will be Wednesday night. I really encourage you all to come. It's from 6 to 8. It's going to be at the Lee Dem Arts Center. They have agreed that they're going to do this section from the north part of Broadway going south all the way to Spring, right? They're not doing the intersection, they're doing the south section.
It depends on how everything lines up. If all their mixtures are approved here shortly, then they'll move ahead with that. They'll not start with the intersection, they'll start with the southern portion of the project.
Yeah, but the southern side of Broadway or the north side of Broadway?
They're starting at the north side of Broadway. So Broadway.
North side of Broadway.
So Broadway will be blocked, Walnut, Elm will all be blocked.
Not until spring though, correct?
No, they want to move forward.
All the way to Spring.
No, he's talking.
You mean spring season?
Yeah,
Spring
spring.
Oh,
They
yeah.
sent that letter saying they wanted to start in March.
KDOT told me that they were interested in starting in March, and then about a week later, they said, let's start this now.
They have an 80-day window, and I did bring up your 80-day work
80
schedule,
day
I'm sorry.
work.
80 work days?
80
Yeah,
work days.
so I brought up your concerns about the concrete, and since it's a KDOT regulated, they will make sure that it meets all, as far as temperatures and when everything's laid. I mean, there were 8 KDOT people at this meeting that are gonna make sure that it's done according, because they have $1 million invested in it.
I understand that, but I also look at Highway 77 going south of town that they put asphalt on and all the ripples and stuff that's in it that makes everybody go bananas. And that was a state-regulated project too.
Yes.
But they assured, I raised that question, didn't I? That by doing this, our council had concerns about concrete being laid. And they said that they would meet all regulations and make sure whatever heat blankets need to be on. They're not sure they're going to do the whole project. They might do half of it.
And then save the other portion for
So
spring.
that's up to, it's their decision though.
Right.
Bryant and Bryant.
And they said, and to top it off, they said, when they shut it down for the season, it won't be asphalt
There will be or won't be?
there won't be, it'll be concrete. It'll be a concrete ramp rather than an asphalt ramp or transition. So they don't have to come back up and fix it. That was them. They volunteered to do that, so. They want to, I mean, Bryant has done good work in the city
Oh, I know they have.
previously. And they feel they can do this project justice, and in their timeline, they felt this was the best way to do it.
So is this, they don't work Saturdays like most construction companies, or do they work Saturdays?
Well, when they did the brick streets here in Marysville, they worked Saturdays.
Did
They-
And
So that-
Sundays.
That cuts it down.
They said they didn't anticipate working Saturdays. They work fast. So with the amount of working days, they felt they could get it done doing all during the week.
Starting on one date.
Well, they have to wait till their testing gets approved, right?
Anticipate the last when they sent me the minutes, they said anticipated or estimated start date of August 26th.
I think they've called locates.
So,
September.
2
They'll take it
weeks.
through middle of November.
Yep.
2
Wow.
weeks.
But they can stop at any point in
They
time.
can make it a two-project thing, but, so they're gonna start with the utilities, obviously.
Right.
And so at that point in time, east-west traffic won't be able to get across Highway 77. So all the traffic's gonna be rerouted Jackson or through the city park up to Highway 36 and then down. So really encourage everyone to come that would be affected by that, which is gonna be the whole city. And because the school's gonna be affected. Now, once they get that utility in, they're always gonna have 2 lanes of traffic,
Two lanes of traffic. that
one
was the
lane
plan.
each direction.
Yep.
But while they do the utility work, you won't be able to go
Right.
Are they gonna
across
leave
those
Walnut
streets.
Street open to get into the school?
Not for vehicle traffic.
Not at the utility time.
They've said they will maintain a crosswalk. But
Just curious how you're gonna get buses into the high school.
They're gonna come down 11th Street.
Ross is gonna be there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all the school traffic is gonna come down 11th or 12th.
When it's on the east side of the road, with the 2 lanes of traffic, you'll be able to turn in. When it's on the west, will have to be rerouted.
When they do the utility work, will they do one block at a time?
No.
Close one
They sound-
block at a time?
And rip it all open and
They
go.
sound like they're gonna rip it all up.
The utility, because they're gonna rip up. They're gonna do, for this whole project, yes, it's gonna be phased. It's not gonna be the whole street ripped up. It's gonna be phased.
But they're gonna do as I understand, they're gonna do utility, then they're gonna have two-way traffic on the east side and then two-way traffic on the west, or vice versa.
Yeah.
But the first utility is gonna be the most difficult to get around.
And they're gonna tear out the bump out.
The west ones. The west bump outs, yes.
Not the east.
Not the east.
Not the east.
No. They
Even
just
though
needed,
utilities
they
on the
just
east?
needed one set. The utilities they're gonna be working on are the sanitary sewer on the south end. Yeah. No, they'll take out those west ones, which actually benefits us because, they're cracking up. I mean, there's got some cracks in them already, surprisingly. Also, that was the cheapest. Traffic control was gonna be much more expensive if we didn't take those out, so. Benefited the project in general. So yeah, they'll take those west ones out. That'll give space for 2 lanes.
So come to the meeting, and they're gonna describe it, and they should know for sure by Wednesday.
Yeah,
Well, you're
we-
pretty confident they're gonna do that south section first? Okay, starting at the north side of Broadway. and going down through Spring.
If they have everything approved, they should be starting on the south section first.
So what's it gonna do to this?
We've already informed them that they probably should get an alternate route just in case.
He's here.
So I just wanted to let you know about that.
They're gonna start on the north side of Broadway.
Yeah, it includes the north side of Broadway. It's not this, I thought it might, and leave Broadway open, but it's not. It's gonna be on the north edge of Broadway going south. So it's gonna block Broadway.
North curb line south.
Yes.
Uh-huh. But, yeah, so if you can come, please come from 6 to 8. And then, did you want to report on the Planning and Zoning Commission, Darlene, meeting?
I was thinking Dave, Dave's here.
Oh, Dave's here. Dave usually leaves as soon as, I'm sorry, Dave.
I know me much, they just see what happened here. Can I give you guys copies of this one? On what we want to rezone up here?
It was in our agenda a couple of weeks ago.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Okay, we had a public hearing on those 4 blocks up north, and everything went through okay. We're gonna rezone that and send our recommendation to you guys, probably maybe the next meeting. There wasn't time with the 14-day protest tonight,
yeah,
so
okay.
it'll, you guys can you can do the final approval on this next meeting probably. But I think there's three properties we left as commercial, like Payshaw's and up on top of the hill, yeah. So it went exactly the way, you got this paper yet? We did exactly what was on that, so no changes.
And that was the only thing you guys discussed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thanks for staying, Dave. Darlene got off the hook.
do it, but then I should.
Our liaison is.
Well, and there was just one protest.
Darlene was a protest, just for the record.
Oh, yeah, I forgot she did, didn't she? Got up and, well, we had one other gentleman here, but he was interested in how the tax change would be if it affected anything. But that all goes by the use of the building or the use of the land, so. Shouldn't affect any of the taxes.
So he wasn't against it.
Not really.
Okay, thanks, Dave. All right, the next item is the consent agenda.
I'd like to remove number 1 from the consent agenda and let Mr. Shepherd speak.
Okay, should we approve 2 through 5 and come back to that?
Move for approval on the consent agenda of 2 through 5.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, the only thing I wanted to point out, and this is just Cindy confirmed that on her report on page 35, that those monies are invested. And I'm sorry, what'd you say the maturity date was?
December 9th.
12/9/19?
Oh, instead
Okay.
of 11.
Yeah.
Because we've already passed it. It got
Yeah, and I did ask her to prepare or work on an aging of the receivables so we could see how old they are. And the amount actually is it 3 million?
It's 3
million one something.
It's 3,150,000. It's what your last one was. Deb and I.
3,158,000
Yes,
something.
that's what it is.
So I just wanted you guys to know it was invested
rolled
right
it.
now.
And I do have a question, if we've received any updates from the Kester House Museum?
Just that one guy, no, I mean, nothing on their hour, or their
No.
people, number of people, or any of that, no. Do we just get their money, their admissions
And I
money?
know
Oh, you mean the attendance?
Right.
On the Kester House
Right,
Museum?
and
I'm sorry.
we've not
Yeah.
received anything from
And the
that.
days and, yeah,
Okay,
because we haven't received much income.
all right. Does anybody else have questions about the consent agenda number 2 through 5? We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, and now we'll go back to the homecoming parade, and it's on page 33, and Mitchell's here. So you heard all that discussion?
Yeah, speaking of, it puts a little more stress on. Mitchell Shepherd, teacher at the high school, and I'm Stuco sponsor. So looking to get the homecoming parade approved. Cindy kind of gave me some guidance this morning, talking to her, and I kind of liked her route suggestions, so basically proposed with the construction, kind of unknowns and where it would be at, is to go start on 4th and Broadway, work to 8th and Broadway, and then work south basically to Walnut, basically by the pool into the park, so it'll end at the tailgate.
So through the park.
Yeah, go into
Yeah.
the park.
Through the park.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think the semis will be able to get around and then get on, is it Spring down there?
Jackson?
Or
Jackson.
Jackson?
You'll have to
Yeah.
take Jackson.
Yeah.
So let's think about that. So we'll have Broadway blocked. So the people coming through town,
See, I don't know how the
there'll be
traffic is going.
Jackson.
I'll have to be going down
To-
Jackson.
Yeah.
Well, 6th will be blocked for the parade.
No, 8th will be blocked for the parade.
Well, all the way from 4th to 8th.
Yeah. I'll just have to wait for a little bit.
So,
And we could start on 5th, because then they could go to 4th and still get on 36.
Yeah, just
Not
start
from
waiting on the
Jackson.
semis around through there. Some of those roads aren't made for that much weight.
Yeah.
Jackson don't go to 4th.
it doesn't, it only
Nope.
goes to 6th.
Yeah,
Jackson only goes to 6th.
Yeah. Mike Warner ignored.
If we feed that through at your house, could we take it and get it to 5th, 4th, and 4th would get them on the highway? Will 4th come out by CJ's?
Yes.
Well, what happens if we wait till we approve this, till you've had your meeting on Wednesday, and see what they're gonna tell you at the
Well, we can
traffic
have them
meeting?
make a recommendation on where our parade
mean-
route should go.
You worried about 6th Street?
Yeah, if we have the parade from 4th to 8th,
They always block the highway off anyway.
Well, that's true.
Stop traffic.
Yeah.
They block the
Yeah.
highway for them to cross, so what's the
Yeah.
difference?
They
we
do.
block the highway.
Sure,
anyway.
When they cross
Okay.
77.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
because your parade's only 20
The only
minutes.
problem
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll,
so we'll be blocking them up over the overpass. No,
No,
they'll be coming on 6th. So we'll be through town.
So I
Okay.
take it they'll be having signage on 6th Street then for the 77 detour then.
yeah.
Yeah, they talked about signage. And they'll talk about it that night.
well, and they want a detour, a lot of them to not even come in, if they can get them to go around, by barns or,
All right.
Okay, so we will, we can approve this and going with the recommendation from the traffic people from KDOT. How about that? You're good with that?
Yeah.
We'll
I
get
mean,
back with you.
we can propose this and make, as long as they're okay with it.
Okay.
But that would get you right back to the
Down to the park.
tailgate, so
Yeah, I
that's,
think it's a good ending point. That's a good suggestion, so.
and then you guys though might not be able to get across the highway. You might have to cross over
Get across. on Oak.
Jackson,
Yeah.
on Oak,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how you're gonna get to this high school, yeah. Anyway, I'm sure it'll all work out.
I'm super thrilled about it. I usually park on the south side of the weight room, so I don't know where I'm gonna be parking at this year so far, so.
Okay, do you guys have any other questions for Mitchell? So we can approve his proposed route, and once it's approved by KDOT,
Sounds like a win.
do you want to make a motion for that?
Move to approve the homecoming parade route for 2019 from 4th to 8th down through the city park, if approved by KDOT.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, all right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, can we participate? We usually
Oh, yes.
participate in the homecoming
Yeah.
parade.
Yeah, you're more welcome.
I'll have to think of something small, compact,
Don't bring
something
your
small.
semi.
I'll send an email.
Dave, are you going to come up with an idea?
Probably just have to come up with a truck.
Yeah, something compact. We're
You
thinking
better think about your
compact.
UTVs.
That's an idea? Okay. All right, so we're through the consent agenda. Next thing is the appropriations ordinance.
I move to approve appropriations ordinance number 3704.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Well, I had a couple items. So I just wanted to note that the payment there to Hall Brothers does include a change order. The 82,000 includes a 4,000 change order because of the base that they found when they dug in. So I just wanted to point that out to you.
Base they found.
No base.
They took out 6 inches from below where they thought they needed to go.
They took out an additional 6 inches.
Additional 6 inches, because when you went out there, you stepped in a couple different spots, water just shot out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like I said, I seen them over working, but I didn't.
So they recommended, and we went with, they just took out an additional 6 inches of that base that was there and put AB3 back. And they did pretty nicely.
It's wavy though.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
May I mention a couple of the large items?
Well, I had some more questions first, before you do the large items. Did you have questions or large items?
Large items.
Okay, so the other thing I wanted to mention was, there's more costs here to convert this police truck. Did you guys notice that?
Yes.
Both Honeyman Ford and KCOM. So we've almost invested $4,000 in converting this truck from the PD to, is it water sewer?
Water sewer.
So I don't
Does that
remember.
include the radio? Excuse me, Madam Mayor. Wasn't there a 3,000 deal about a radio?
Yeah, that was last time. So
The
3,000.
same truck though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
So.
it just keeps adding up.
Yeah, so $4,000, I don't ever remember having this happen. So I was gonna ask Cindy to look up in the past if we've ever had this, where we've paid to convert a truck like that.
I'll look it up. I can't off the top of my head tell you, but
Well, I don't
will
remember
look.
ever seeing it, so
Okay.
I don't like the idea that we take a used truck and we put a $4,000 upgrades in
Back into
it. So, will you bring that to the next meeting, Cindy? Okay, so
Look it up for
Cindy
you.
Hawley. I didn't know, that Cook Excavating, can you tell me what that is? I didn't see it in the highlights.
Where they fixed when you asked me about the sewer out by, that's the one?
Hometown.
Yeah, out by Hometown Lumber.
Yeah, what happened to it?
The sewer broke, and that is a really deep sewer. And
The
so we need.
sewer broke. Is that our lift station?
No, it wasn't the lift station, the sewer line broke.
Oh,
And it's really deep there, and our guys,
Our backhoe doesn't go deep enough.
no.
Well,
So we
don't have
needed
the
somebody
stuff
to come in and fix it.
so our sewer line broke out there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then, I noticed on, ICMA, I'm really glad that we have 4 employees contributing to that. That's an additional retirement plan, right? So I'm really glad that they are participating in that. And the last thing is, and you guys just tell me what you think, but one of these charges is to Jason's company, that Acme Plumbing. And how do you guys feel about the city hiring him to do work for the city?
Don't want to do business with me, that's fine. I don't do any bids. I mean, they call if there's an emergency generally, and I work it in.
Well, I kind of think that, like other things, like replacing tires, oil changes, ought to be rotated.
If we can do our own oil changes, we do our own
But
oil
I mean,
changes.
not having the same business do it.
And if you look at
They
the
call
recent,
everybody.
we
We have
have
3 plumbers in this one. We had 3 air conditioners, and we have Otts, Jason, and Charlie, all 3 in here that we had to have fixed. Because a lot of times it's just who can get there, or if I need them to rotor at the park,
And
it's
that's
whoever
good.
will come.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that's
so
good.
like I
think
said,
we-
I got all 3 of them in this ordinance this time.
Well, it's just that we've never hired a council member before to do work. And that's my question, is if the council feels about that.
I asked Cindy about it too, whether we were using everybody instead of just Jason, so, and she said that they call different ones, it just depends on who they can get at the time, so.
And
Okay.
I think that's what it is to park. They usually, a lot of times they'll say, I called the other guys and they can't get to it. Can you get to it? And I say,
Yeah,
yeah.
some of them
So,
won't do that.
as long as we're calling everybody, I think it's
I don't have
fine,
a
you know, I don't know that there's a problem. And
Okay.
I do see where AHRS Construction charges $4,264.90 over and above what the insurance paid on the library doors, so that the city got stuck for on that. So,
Wasn't there any insurance on that person's vehicle?
Till it got signed off on.
That was the insurance.
That
They
was the
paid off.
insurance?
Yep.
And they
Was
wouldn't
it?
pay for the rest.
Right.
so, but just,
Yeah.
I just wanted to note that we ended up paying more than what the insurance paid for, that the city, that it cost the city that much.
Yes.
What she's talking about, those should have been brought to the council before it was signed off on.
Right.
And that was a big mistake. And because we would have got the money from the insurance company, no matter what they said.
So we
And
got,
that's a shame because it never should have happened.
so we ended up having 4,000 out-of-pocket costs for that.
Right.
Whatever the out-of-pocket cost was, never should have been when it's somebody else's liable. Nobody should have signed off on a contract like that.
Okay. Darlene, what were you gonna say?
And then we had a mileage here and meal reimbursement, and it said here, Gifts Kansas Mayor Association meeting, Carla Grun. Well, I want you to know that only $45 of that was to Carla. The rest of it was for Austin. So it's not all of that $1,000, or what is it, $1,616.45.
It looks like I gave a lot of gifts.
Yes, was not for Carla.
Yeah,
So
so
I want,
I-
anybody that reads that, I want you to note that that was not for.
So the gifts for the mayors were $45.
Right.
And the rest was for
Yeah, the rest of it
ICMA
was for
conference.
Austin to go to Nashville, so,
Thank you for pointing that out, Diane.
okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
that was brought to my attention at the railroaders breakfast this morning. Guys that sit there and look at the computer and saw that, and they questioned why the mayor was spending that kind of money.
Oh, wow. Will you
And
make
right,
sure that
this is
doesn't
a-
happen again,
I
Cindy?
can try, but see, we did
This
two
is a
different
very
people doing this, and one went on
Serious
vacation.
thing, especially when it's getting this close
Published.
to election and stuff.
Oh, it's published, yeah.
They said, why would she do that? So you were getting accused of something, you didn't do it, you did $45. The rest of it was to take care of a trip for our administrator.
Right.
It's what pops out in the software.
And it-
Well, you can edit that.
And I could have written on it, but Sammy keyed it in, went on vacation, and then I finished it, so
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was.
So just trying to make sure the high dollar
We
ones are
try
listed,
to, but
rather than my $45.
Right, but anyway, I wanted to note that so that people don't think that that was, that
Thank you,
Carla was
Diane.
spending that
Thank
on.
you for explaining that. Did you explain that to the railroad people at
I
breakfast?
didn't
didn't
know
know
while
yet.
I was there. They
Oh.
brought it to my attention first. I run home and looked to see what it was talking about. I didn't understand that you'd gone off the deep end and done that.
No, I didn't go off the deep end. All right. So we'll try not to let that happen again. Since it is a published document, we need to make sure it's right. Okay, Darlene, would you like to share your big items?
Okay, well, as already mentioned, HRS Construction charged $42,649 to replace the library entry doors. And again, as mentioned, $4,264 is going to have to pick up by our citizens. Another item was the payroll, and it was $56,378. Hall Brothers, which we've talked about, and this is to replace the pavement near the United Bank branch and on Highway 36, and that was a total of $82,275. Rick Honeyman Ford for the F-550 Ford was $36,497.
That's all the big ones?
Largest ones.
Yeah, so it's a total of $337,000. Last time it was over $1 million, so this is considerably
We're down.
less. Yeah. All right, is there any other comments you guys want to make on the ordinance? So we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Boss,
Yes.
Pipia,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes?
Schroller,
Yes,
Rom,
Yes.
Fry, Barnes.
Yes.
Fry's gone. 6-0.
All right, now we're up to city administrator reports.
All right, first thing up is a number of sewer truck repairs. We sent pictures to a repair place that handles our sewer truck for them to estimate how much it would cost to fix it. And you can see those pictures that we sent in, and a list of things that they would do to help solve our issues with the sewer truck. Basically included changing butterfly valves, installing new tailgate seal, cut and weld new vacuum inlet cone, primer and paint, look at the possibly replace the make/break, cut and weld new tube for vacuum, primer and paint, replace both ball valves, replace the 90-degree swivel, and change out the pressure gauge. And then you see the number of items down here. So,
Is this all normal wear and tear?
like where it's
It's not a damage.
corroding, yes. Yeah, it's all normal where it's corroding itself out. I mean, it's going through sewer. The valves are on the interior of it, so it's being eroded out. Now the latches, yeah, that's not like they ran into anything or anything like that. It's just over time they open, close. Yeah, it's all wear and tear as they keep going.
Normal maintenance?
Yep.
How
And so,
many years is this? 15? Or is it more than that?
so did we buy this truck from Elliott?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where we bought it from?
Yes.
So there's no place else we can get a second opinion from?
Not on a specialized piece of equipment like this.
Is the wear and tear on this,
Is it a 9?
reflected on what we charge these cities that's helping wear it out?
We have a set fee schedule, so it's use of the equipment. It should, yes. be
It's an
included.
04.
Yeah, 15 years old.
This is the first major work that I can think of that's been done to it
Yeah.
on this.
So if we do this, it should run another 15 years, hopefully. At least 5 years. Can you give us
Oh, yeah.
5 years?
I
For
can't.
15,000? For 11,000?
I'll
don't know.
let
Are they gonna
the
look at the
council
rust and-
decide on that, yeah.
They gonna look at any of the rust on the inside of the tank where it's spalding?
They sent pictures.
Well, I noticed
Yeah.
in their deal there, here's our quotation on the goods named, subject to conditions noted. You know, so I take it if they find something, you'll probably get another call and
Yeah. Probably, yeah. Yeah, this is without sending it to
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
Yeah, it says this quote is based on the pictures.
Yeah. So, he tried to pick everything that we were having issues with, just to make it sense to send it to Lincoln. On top of so the corrosion was probably the main issue that got the attention, and then switching out some of the latches and stuff like that. We're just icing while it's there.
This is a cheap repair for a $400,000 truck.
Yes, it is.
So we go for it, I think. So with that being said, you want to entertain a motion to accept this?
Move to send the sewer truck to Elliott Equipment for repairs.
For the $11,014.91? Estimate?
Estimate, yeah.
Estimate?
For the estimate.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion?
Well, surely if it's going to be more than that, they let us know, don't they?
Yeah, they'll call if there's some major, they'll call and let us know what they're finding. Yes.
When do you plan to take it up? Right away?
Probably. We want them, because they got to get it in their schedule. So this prompts them to put it in their schedule, so they'll let us know when they can take it.
I know if it's like our garbage trucks, you won't get it there till they get everything in.
Right.
They'll
Order all the
order all
parts.
of it, and when it gets there, then they'll call and say,
How long do you think it'll be out of service?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second? All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed? 6-0, all right.
All right. Next up is a change order to the sewer lining. Basically, we create the bid request for CIPP off of the maps that were made from KRWA. So what we have there is what we go off of. When they get into the sewers, they measure them, well, they know the measurements because they set up their camera equipment and their cleaning equipment for what we tell them is there. So they go off of what equipment they have. So it's not uncommon, and we've had this before where they'll find a 10-inch, they'll find a 12-inch here and there, but we significantly expanded how much we're doing each year. So they found quite a bit more and differences from what we had in our bid request. So with that in mind, they presented a change order for all the changes they found when they cleaned. Because they cleaned it already. They're lining not as we speak, but they started lining last week. So they submitted a change. Once I get back down there. Change order and initially included quotes for heavy cleaning in there, which actually is not covered by our contract because they ran across some pretty extensive sewer cleaning, but the contract actually says that whatever cleaning they find they have to do it. Not in those words, but pretty close. So I asked them to take out the $9,000 extra on top of this that they were proposing.
So he calls me and said they're proposing almost a $28,000 change order. So I said, send it to me to look at. And they had almost $10,000, $9,000 of cleaning fees up and above the change in the pipe size.
Why?
Well, we've never, to my knowledge, so I called on Austin was gone and I talked to Cindy and I go, Cindy, I have never remember seeing that we paid for excessive cleaning on any of the sewer lines. And, but we knew that we had, when we do pipes bigger than they planned, that we had to pay a premium on that. And Cindy said in the past, it's been $3 a linear foot. And this time they only charge us $2. We don't get a reduction on the 6-inch though. You know, the 6 inch is the same as 8 inch, which I think you should get a reduction because it's less material. But anyway, so after I left a message with Cindy, and then Cindy looked to see we hadn't ever done it and told Austin. Austin called them and they took it off. So praise the Lord that they took the 10,000 off. So the 18 is probably legit because they don't know what the pipes are until they get underneath there.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they think they do. The mapping has an estimate, or do they just assume they're all 8-inch?
I think they just assumed they were all.
Well, I know the one that's in front of our shop down at Temps's, they put that in, went to do that last week, and they got down there and it was 10-inch for that block. And then from there, it goes to 12-inch in the next block.
Well, he said, this is like
It
we're
gets bigger as you
doing,
go.
Yeah.
we're doing where everything dumps to, right?
Yeah.
Right, that's why.
And so that's why they tried to do it, but,
Yeah.
they need to put that in the contract. They can't hit us for $10,000 for that.
Right. And that's why I came at them with the contract. So it's, and then on top of that, ductile iron. We didn't know we had ductile iron, and it takes a different sort of equipment to get it cleaned.
Is that the section that goes underneath the overpass?
No, that is ductile iron, but that's not the one, because that's all force main. It's where the railroad tracks used to go to the old depot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so railroad would like to have the heavy duty stuff underneath the tracks.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that 280 linear feet of ductile iron they came across, and they charged us $11.
That's legitimate.
That's legitimate.
Cost.
Yeah.
Did you have a question, Terry?
Oh, well, I was just curious, was that the end of trying to negotiate with them when you finally got it to 20, or got it down to 18?
From 28 to 18?
Did
I
you
mean,
go
I call
back
that a
with another
win.
figure?
Our contract actually specifies that it's 8-inch, so when they come across something different, that's their proposal.
We have had
We've
change
done that every
orders
time.
when it's not 8-inch.
Yeah.
So, Kit could have looked up on the specs and saw that it was 10 and 12, or no?
No, like I said, we
wouldn't have
went
known
off,
that?
we went off the maps, and what maps we've been provided, which we can just discuss remapping our sewers after we get our finished product for storm sewers, see how we like that, and go from there, but This was less per linear foot than we've ever been, or at least from the most recent past, how they charged us on upsizing, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought we got 2150 not too long ago. per
But that's.
8 inch.
But that,
Right.
yeah, that was.
Just the upcharge.
Yeah, but we got lucky on that 2150, because, they were in Seneca.
That was a low cost,
Yeah.
yeah. They were doing the whole city up there.
Yep.
Okay, so any more questions on this change order? Otherwise, we need to approve the change order.
Move to approve the CIPP change order to Institutiform Technologies USA in the amount of $18,339.10.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
5-1. Again, I think it just goes to show when people give us change orders, we need to challenge it. Because we shouldn't just say, okay, so, all right.
All right, next thing on the docket is the Jenkins Waterline project. Included are the plans. It's a pretty straightforward three-block project. It also includes a new valve to help protect the hospital and keep them, whenever we need to do fixes on the water line, they don't get shut down. So that's included in this project.
Is that live line on page?
Yes. Where
That's what that means?
Yeah, they will install
There's no
the,
page number on this one, let's see.
they will install the.
63.
Yeah, install the valve while it's still on.
So that they will never be without water? Is that the purpose of setting that up?
The idea, yes, the idea is so you can section off the hospital and so they can continue to have water.
So during this project, will they be without water ever?
No, that's the live line.
Okay.
They will install the valve with the
First.
water still on. So, yeah.
Hot tap in.
Hot tap, yes.
Hot tap, good
Hot
word.
tap. That's what they call it.
That's what it's called,
Hot
yeah. Yep.
Okay. So, I saw this down here on number 13 where it says contractor shall seed, fertilizer, and mulch all disturbed areas.
Yes.
We had problems on that North Street line that they didn't bring it back to the similar condition, the
There's a lot of people.
pre-construction condition. And I think that needs to be in there, not just to do it, but to bring it to the pre-construction condition.
Okay. Madam Mayor, I've had a lot of people complain about that second part of the North Street project, about the amount of rocks and stuff that,
Yes.
they dug up and then they just went in and they bladed it off the best they could, but they left all the rocks on the top. They said, like this, a couple gentlemen told me, they didn't hand rake anything. They didn't even try to pick the rocks out of it. And they said there was no rocks on the surface, they said, before that project was started. They said all the black dirt that was on top is all gone.
But we
You know.
went with a different company. We went with the lower bid company.
I understand that, but
Well,
it wasn't prepared.
We
put
haven't
back like-
finalized that yet, though. Remember, we haven't closed that out.
Right, but-
We still owe them money. So that's Deep Creek, right?
No.
Larson.
No, that was
Larson.
the
That was Larson
Larson, that was
doing North Street?
Yeah.
Deep Creek was the year before that did.
Deep Creek
good
did the
job.
bore job, and Larson's the one that dug it all up.
Right. No, I will have that added there.
Added, but, so what are we gonna do about the North Street project?
Still, like you said, it's not closed out.
Okay, so go back to Larson and,
Like I said,
Yeah,
I'm
they've done the check off list. They know exactly what they need to get fixed.
I just had I probably had 8 or 10 people up along that
And it
section
takes,
talking
it takes
about it.
years for
I never did get on the
everything
lane
to settle, because
Yeah.
when I lived on
Because
11th Street,
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have a phone.
the city
I went to
dug
his
it
house
up.
And I didn't
I
get a
mean,
hold of him.
the city never brought it back to proper condition either. Gas line, telephone.
so the water line is gonna go across there on the south side, right? And from 17th to 20th. So will we be blocking like 17th, 18th? We don't ever block 20th, right? Because it stops on
Right.
the west side.
Right. I mean, there might be, at some point in time, they restrict some traffic flow, just because it might go out a little bit into the road, but while they're there, if they're boring it, it shouldn't be an issue. If they're trenching it, then yeah, they'll block it off.
But it's 20th will remain open?
Right.
Okay. And then, so over here on 19th doesn't go south, okay. So if you go to 18th,
It goes south.
could it block that?
There's a if they trench it, yes, it could block that.
And will they block 17th? Because it looks like you're on the west side.
Yes.
So those two are yes.
Yep.
Possibly. So we'll put signs out, or we'll notify all the...
They will have the traffic control and yes.
Okay. So somebody asked me the question, why are we redoing water lines in the north section of town when the old section of town is...
50 years old.
Yeah.
The way all this was designed or set up is we targeted, or Kent targeted, places where highly in need of replacement. So where we've had the most repairs.
I know, but don't you think it's weird that all the repairs are on the newer section of town rather than the older section of town?
Yeah.
I don't know the history on water leaks here, but this was.
Well, I told them we did based on a recommendation, but I just had to ask the question because enough people have asked me.
I can shed a little light on that. A lot of the lines in the west end of town are 1.5 to 2 foot deeper than what they are up here in this end of town.
So they don't get broke as
They
often?
don't,
Don't get
the
broke?
freeze and thaw doesn't
They
affect
don't?
them as much.
Oh, they're lower, so they're
Yeah.
less affected. Huh,
It's a
interesting.
good point.
I noticed that some of these, you're still having 4-inch lines and 6-inch lines and 8-inch lines. So some of these 4-inch lines are okay. Like on this diagram we have, there's a couple places that it's feeding to a 4-inch line. Well, on this valve work,
Don't make things like these.
Yeah, it's basically we're upgrading the
valve section, but not necessarily, you're not making the lines any bigger. A 4-inch line is plenty big. Yeah. See, some are 6 and some are 4. That's why I wanted Tony to be here to explain it to me.
Right, he had another meeting. No, it's upgrading the main portions of this, yeah, and no, it should all work out, yes. Kent had a hand in this whole thing. He wants to make everything as big as possible, and if it's transitioning into a 4-inch, then that's,
So at the hospital, what are we putting up there? How big a line is going to the hospital? Is that the 18th, is that the 8-inch at 18th and Jenkins? Is that the hospital line? So it's the big one?
let's see.
It must be the
At that
18th.
location, at 18th and Jenkins, that would be right there by.
So that, the hospital has the 8-inch and then some of the others have 4 and 6?
An 8-inch line is probably running to the hospital, yes.
Okay, 8-inch. And the other, one last thing is, why are we bidding this so late? This has always been on the agenda.
I know, we're running a little bit late, it's been backed up with other projects. I mean, just getting,
From a CES standpoint?
well, yes, and, I mean, just other things have been going on, getting all the details on this project, it's taking longer than normal.
Is this for completion in 2019?
Yes.
See, that's my big thing.
Other than the seating. The seating would be completed.
Because
in
it
the
says
spring.
a late start, a bid date early September and a late start date of October 7th. And this is not a KDOT
Yeah.
one, so.
I hope we get bidders on it.
Right.
Well, that thing, I thought you guys were, I figured you'd be concerned about the concrete.
I am.
The concrete will be the width of the trench, if they're trenching on just those intersections.
Maybe
Yeah, but
maybe Deep Creek will
Open
get it
holes
again.
and we could be of snow.
what's how many days is supposed to complete it?
40.
40 days?
That'd be 40 work, so
40 working days.
40 working days.
Month and a half.
Yeah,
That brings you through middle of November.
right, if they need it every day.
Yeah.
And this is one of our smaller projects,
It's 3 blocks.
3 blocks.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Still.
and if it's too cold, we always put just gravel to make it, and then it gets compacted. Or that would be probably the best way to do it.
You guys want to proceed and do it?
But then there's more chance of it freezing, isn't it?
When's the start date on it?
What'd you say, October?
Late start date, October.
Late, yeah, the latest they can start is
October
October 7th.
October 7th?
Yeah.
That'd put them around the 15th of November for completion. Still ought to be warm enough, but there again, we can't look in the crystal ball and see if we're gonna have an early winter this year or not.
Right.
Start having snow in September.
Oh, yeah, I know, it's already snowed out in the mountains, so.
You want to, we could push the late start date up a week or two. I don't know if it would limit the people that would bid it.
How long a time frame you got for bids?
Early September is when so
So you could make, let's see, here's July.
Early
August.
September, August out.
early September for for them to get it in.
To get it in.
Yes.
Well, you could make them, you could have a bid date on the 26th, or you think that's too quick?
I think that's a little too quick. They have to line up it's
Actually, 40 days.
suppliers.
So you're
Thanksgiving.
making a,
40 days would be Thanksgiving.
you're making 7,
If you're doing 5 work days.
so if you're doing a bid date, so
I
you're
just
going to bring it to the
roughly figured.
council on the 9th?
Yeah.
You're going to bring it to council on the 9th?
Right.
That's your goal?
That's the goal.
Rather than the 26th? That's probably too tight.
There again, depends on what contractors are doing, how many
So
bids we're gonna get on it.
Right.
And,
So it gives them
You know-
4 weeks for a start date.
yeah.
I did, just offhand comment, I'd hate to push this off, I mean, because knowing the bigger project and how long it took them took the contractor to complete,
But we added some stuff on that other project too.
right. But they came at it knowing that stuff was there.
I understand that, but is this just the 3-block project period and we're done?
Yes,
There's not gonna be any north-south street connections
made
for a
sure
block or 2 blocks?
that's why I pushed, that's what next year's project is.
You know, when the Lutheran Church added on, we were we made them go through a few hoops to,
Yeah.
I think, remember that?
Mhm.
When the Lutheran Church did their
Yep,
add-on to
and
make
put
sure
their
they did
add-on
it
for the-
correctly?
Yeah,
Yeah. So Lutheran Church and the hospital should be good.
Yeah.
The line where you're putting that live line is a good line.
Yeah.
We don't have to do anything to that line.
that's a
just add that.
brand new line, because Charlie
yeah.
LeWise
Is that the one that the church put in
Yeah.
at the church?
yeah, Charlie put that one in, so
Yeah. Right.
he bored all that.
And so if you're
Yeah,
starting
that'd
at
be good.
17th, 19th doesn't go through,
No,
and it's stopping on the west side of 20th. So
Right.
the likelihood that we have any addition is slim.
Right, no, I made sure, because, I mean, it was brought up, do we want to connect? Because the next year's project does have that north-south component, or more north from Laramie to Jenkins. Because it has some lines some service lines that go all the way from Laramie to almost to Jenkins. It
Right.
doesn't make any sense. So the idea would be to connect Laramie and Jenkins and create a loop.
right.
So those services can connect to a main closer to them rather than that. So the next year's project does have this stuff, and we want to be ready for that rather than have this late stuff. But I did make sure there's no extra. This is the 3 blocks.
This is what?
3 blocks
Just 3
only.
blocks.
Just a 3-block water line.
No north-south period.
No north-south period.
With that being heard, I move that we proceed with the Jenkins water line project
Go up for bid.
to go out for bid.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, all right.
Pull this back to my sheet.
Financials.
Financials. All right. Come on. Once my page loads again.
You want to read it?
Yes, please. That's what paper.
Yours is loaded.
I got it.
It's a paper, it's a paper world.
All right, general fund is sitting close to, sitting a little over $1 million, as expenditures for the month of July are about $2,000 less, than in July 2018. So we're doing pretty good there. The water fund revenues have not caught up with last year's revenues. A decrease in water usage is the main culprit to that.
Yeah, it rains every other day.
It rains every other day.
I'm
Grass
thankful for that.
grass is still growing right now. A lot of times grass would be stopped by now and people would be struggling to get their sprinklers to catch up. So that's what's going on with the water fund and the weather. The sewer revenue as of last month, July is a little over 13,000 higher year-to-date compared to 2018. Sales tax fund is down quite a bit due to $557,000 sent to KDOT for the C-CLIP project, but sales tax revenues have increased from last year, not considering the $300,000 in 2018 that KDOT paid us in the month of July. We received about $4,000 more in the sales tax fund compared to last year's sales tax receipts. Any questions on financials?
All right, I just had two questions for you, Austin. One is I saw on the cemetery highlights that they're taking down barbed wire. I thought we decided we were gonna have a city waiver.
The barbed wire specifically they're taking down is already falling down.
It's laying on the ground.
It was laying on the ground.
Okay, well, I just didn't want them to spend time taking down barbed wire when the city can get a waiver.
Yeah, for security purposes, I agree.
It was falling down.
Yep.
Okay. And last thing, I kind of expected to see a firing range timeline.
I don't, we need to know exactly when we can get our street guys out there. That's a challenge, and then buying the materials to line the banks of it is also a challenge.
Okay, well, we were supposed to have that done this spring. That was our goal.
The firing range?
All right, and that's all I had. Anybody else have anything for Austin? Okay,
I wondered if the code enforcement letters have been rewritten with the suggestions you received.
Yes.
They have? Are they available? I mean, can somebody look at that?
You can if you really want to.
the only thing I want to say about the code enforcement, I had somebody stop me, and Austin knows that they stopped, and it was just somebody that is not a habitual offender. Am I interrupting what you were going to say?
No, I had one other thing, but go ahead with that though first.
Okay, so it's not a habitual offender, and they thought their letters were harsh. Now, when I reviewed it, I just saw notice of violation, and I didn't really think about this from a receiving standpoint. So you have people that, and this person is an outside person who's investing in our community and gets a letter that says notice of violation and threatens blah, blah, blah. So I came in and talked to Austin and Dave, and the reason they say they send it out, I said, couldn't you give them a nicer first letter? And he said, well, we have to send it certified, so that would cause us to send 2 certified letters. But what I think maybe we could do is for the people that are first-time offenders, just write even a little blurb that says, I realize this has never been a problem, we're just bringing this to your attention, but this is the official notification. Something to make it a little bit gentler to the first-time offender. Your thoughts?
I don't know. I've gotten these letters before in the past, and they were worded kind of nasty, and it made me clean it up real quick.
So I'm just trying to think, it's the people that have never received them that thought they were harsh.
There we go into we have to coddle everybody, everybody's sensitive. You know, and I understand some people would be offended right off the bat, but everybody's offended nowadays. Somebody gets their feelings hurt, you know, God forbid you step on someone's toes. If I got a letter, I'd be like, okay, I'll take care of this, now.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go crying to somebody that, oh, that hurt my feelings.
Well, I just, just when we have people that aren't used to receiving anything like this, when they're kind of in the face, I mean, we want them to stay in Marysville, and we don't want it to be too harsh. But are you guys all
And
okay?
another problem is the date. Because by the time if they're out of town, by the time they receive it, or even someone who lives here and has been out of town and gets the letter, it's
Now,
like
didn't
there's
you
a
say-
time crunch.
I'm sorry, interrupt you. Didn't you say the letter says from the time you received it? Or does it say that specifically?
On the weed notices, yes, it does say from the time you receive
You
this.
receive it?
Yes. Yep. And that's the one letter they get.
Can you make sure that that's how it's on all of them? Whatever, how many days from when you receive it? Will you make sure it says that?
Everything's written according to our code book, yes.
But you guys are okay with the letters we have now? All right. What was your other point?
Well, I just wondered if they're handy so anybody can pick them up now, these waiver applications that were supposed to be on file so somebody can get right now.
For barbed wire?
Mm-hmm.
Are they ready? Not yet?
There was
Working on it?
instructions that they would be done.
Yeah, I think Dave's on it.
Dave's working on it?
Yeah.
We have, it's a lot more, because we don't want to just go and make it look like the city's going, oh, I like you, I don't like you, I like you, I don't like you. You
There
can't
has to
keep
be
that, you can't. It has specifications.
That you have
That
to
way,
approve.
nobody can come back and go, well, he was treating me badly. Just, I mean, that's.
Favoritism?
Yeah, favoritism.
need
We
to
don't
have
want favoritism.
specifics.
Yeah, and since
sense.
there is a year deadline to come into compliance, we wanted to make sure we got it right.
And we'll bring them to you, I think, before we ever
Smell them out.
mail them
I'll
out,
look at
so
them.
that you guys can say, yes, this is specifically why we're going to say
criteria.
it's, the criteria,
Okay.
exactly.
Right.
Because we wanted to not just rush into it and do something that,
Okay.
That you guys wouldn't back.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, then I just want, there should be a timeline on when this is finally gonna get out.
that's true. What's your timeline to get it to us? In a month?
I don't know, like I said, we don't want to rush it. Got until August 1st of 2020. We do want to get it done. Yeah.
Well, just tell us when you'll have the waiver letter. What waiver form? Just give us a date, so.
And that will give them a year from whenever this August of 2020 comes up?
No, you have until August of 2020 to come into compliance. So yes, we'll get to the, I don't have a date. We'll put it in the highlights deadline
So basically.
to bring
they've
back the
already got
waiver. Yeah.
Till 2020. They've already got a year.
How about if you have something to us by October 14th? That gives you 6 weeks from now,
Okay.
okay? All right, so you'll have something for us to look at?
Yep.
Okay,
Mayor,
6 weeks.
back to the letters, and I do not know what's sent out for the water sewer, but I did have someone complain about, they'd been late, they always pay for years and years and years, but they complained about the letter they got. But I haven't
they don't get a
seen
letter.
one.
There is no letter.
What do they get?
A red.
They just
They
get
get
a
a red
card that says your bill is overdue. This is the penalty, because we have to tell them, when we
So
have
they
the
get
10%
another
on.
card, just
Yes.
like the
Yeah.
original?
Right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's just red.
And then it says the shut-off date is the 28th, if
The
not.
letter
paid, the
is in
20th.
red.
No, so
No,
the
actual
the
card
bill.
is red?
The writing on the card is red.
That's what I
The
thought.
writing on the
Yeah.
card is red. It
Right.
looks just like yours, only it's,
Red, print.
the print is red.
Now, I suggested to them that they do like I do and just have it
Auto draw.
automatically debited out of their
Right.
checking or
There
savings.
you go.
And for the water bills, they're always due on the same date. And that's, yeah.
And they all signed the application saying they knew when the dates were they would do.
Yeah.
The dates
Probably
don't
did it.
change.
This particular, probably did years and years.
What?
and years.
But the dates don't change. They've always been the same.
It isn't like your gas bill.
It
or
used
your
to be the
elec-
10th
yeah,
of the
they'll
month.
change
Right,
Years
they've
ago.
all, right, exactly, but I mean, once they made the change, they're the same.
Okay, and not to put you on the spot, Cindy, but the census, so they keep emphasizing how important the census is, that it's worth like $2,000 per person, and you want to make sure everyone's counted. Do you have plans? Are you working on that?
I just got something in the mail the other day to start verifying addresses.
Okay.
So, and that's something that Dave and I have to do, and it cannot be public, and no one else can look at it. I don't understand, but that's how it works. So we do it as they give it to us.
Well, they keep talking about how you're supposed to be so creative to make sure you catch everybody, like having it at the library and having them at school and having meetings and things like that.
Oh, you mean
to capture people who wouldn't normally.
That would normally do it.
So are you having thoughts about that?
No.
Because it's in April, right?
Yes.
April 1?
Right. And
It has to be done by April 1 or start?
No.
Starts April 1? Okay, so just keep us abreast on what your plans are on that.
Because I know they'll go through a lot of that in this fall's conference.
Yeah.
That'll be a big thing.
Yeah, they keep talking about it. I just want to make sure you're working on it because we haven't
And
talked about
Mayor, in conjunction with that, a lot of houses don't have have their house numbers on them.
And we still have house numbers at the city hall. So feel free to come get them. Is there anything else you want to report on, Cindy?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, we're going to move on to standing committee reports. On street, the C-clip staging area is at Second and Walnut, correct? I saw where they said they were leveling the dirt there. So all Brian and Bryant, they required how much space?
100 by 100.
So they're going to have all their staging there, just FYI.
You said at Second and Walnut?
Yep.
Yeah. And the only other thing I have on street is the CDBG thing that I talked about, the target area with Spitznaggles. So that's the next step. I sent a letter into Emily to say, do you send these out? Do we send them out? All the other ones had number identification and were anonymous, but these 9, it's not going to be anonymous because we have to have 100% participation. I mean, so I just put an email to say, do you send them out? Do they return to you? Things like that. So that's just the next step of trying to get CDBG money for the next year, assuming we get the fire.
I've got a question. When did we ever decide that that was what we were going to apply for with CDBG for that project? I don't remember as a council ever having a discussion about what we wanted to apply for as far as CDBG grants after the fire station.
Well, you don't want to apply for
there are a lot of
11th?
projects we can apply
road?
for, and I'm not saying that the road isn't a bad thing, but council never had that discussion. There was a meeting with the township with the mayor only, and council wasn't included in any of the part of the discussion, the setting up that street committee wasn't involved, staff was not involved.
All I asked was the right to survey those specific homes that we had to survey. So that's the next step.
To apply
And
for
so,
CDBG, but what I'm asking is, when did we decide that that was a route we wanted to go?
well, so that's your next, the whole thing is to try to get it lined up for next year. So the first CDBG will be the firehouse, and it's due by November 1st. And I thought the whole purpose was to start, and we have a window of opportunity to get grant funding. And since at that 11th Road, Keystone and 12th Road, the discussion was very much, they didn't want huge assessments, that I thought CDB was probably that would be the next logical place to apply for it. Again, we would only get, you'd probably want to have it a 50% match so that you get as many points as possible. But so what were you guys going to apply for?
We're doing the mapping of our storm sewer. I mean, there'd be a possibility we could apply for some improvements to our storm sewer, possibly. I mean, I'm mainly looking at the criteria for a CDBG, and it's supposed to benefit low and moderate income individuals, removes or prevents slum or blight conditions, or eliminates an urgent need created by disaster when local funds are unavailable. And I'm not sure if that, you could probably 11th Road and part of that, but I don't know if 12th Road would be considered a low to moderate income area. I mean, we can apply for it. I'm just saying, when they look at a point system, I would doubt that that would be high on their list as far as targeting low income individuals. I mean, if council wants to go that route, but I'm just saying, we haven't even had the discussion about, we've got a year before we have to apply for the next CDBG.
Well,
And we
and
haven't
we
really
may
had
not
any
get the grant.
discussions.
We may not get the grant.
No,
We
we,
reapply
it'll probably be years off
next year for,
if we do.
Well, I was just trying to do some prep work to see what potential, if we qualify for a target area, that kind of answers that question, or if we have to scale it down. If the target area qualifies, we can do the entire U. The likelihood of those 8 or 9 homes helping us is slim, very slim, but you don't know until you ask them. And so if that being the case, then we would have to narrow it to specific sections of 11th Road, Keystone, and 12th Road. But, and, you know, Austin, he got that estimate of $900,000 as asphalt, and that doesn't include drainage that we need to improve on 11th Road before we do 11th Road. So it's going to be a major project, and I don't know where we would come up money to do it. And as you all know, they've been waiting, some of them 17 years for us to do that project. So, are you guys okay with me going ahead and at least do those target areas and see if they qualify and see what it looks like? It's not going to hurt anything. I mean, if we don't use it next year, we can use it the year after. We can use it until the census numbers come into play. And then that might kick us out again and we might have to do another survey. So that's why I wanted to make sure if we should get funding for the firehouse, we want to be ready for the next round. That's the only thing.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, we cannot start, like, the 11th, 12th Keystone, cannot start that project till firehouse is 100% complete, is that correct?
No, you can open another one while one is up, but you can't have more than 2.
Okay,
Yeah, so we
Okay.
could apply for it and get the funding and have them both going at the same time. But you
okay.
can't have more than 2. You can only apply one at a time, and you
okay,
can only have 2 open.
2 open, okay.
Yeah. So, you know, but it's just it's just to find out if we're gonna qualify or not with the target area, and then what our other options are for that road. I mean, just like, I just have to say, so we have this new couple here that wants to buy a property, and so they're thinking, okay, I have the cost of moving our property taxes in town and water and sewer hookups, and, you know, they want to know how much their street assessment, if we're going to put street assessments on, you know, we want that area to develop. We don't want a street assessment to hinder development out there. I think we have, from economic development, that's the most logical place to grow, especially after we put the street in. So we have to be wise, and we have to utilize this window of opportunity while we have it. So are you guys okay with me?
One little, maybe it's not so little, conversation. If you do decide to go forward with trying to get that whole U taken care of, is this council willing to take those roads over? Because if you're doing the improvements on them, they are now yours. The township does not have the capability to maintain an asphalt or a concrete road. They are now the city's responsibility to maintain.
Don't we maintain 11th Road now?
11th Road, yeah, because that's all ours.
Yeah.
We
That's
do
all ours.
11th and we do
But-
Keystone
But Keystone.
from 11th to 11th Terrace.
Yeah.
Right.
But we don't, but we share responsibility of 11th Terrace to 12th.
Right. They
We
do all
share
that.
responsibility from Mick Keating's house
South.
to Keystone.
It would be all ours after that, because there would be no.
They're going to Keystone anyway, so to me, I cannot see much of a change in routes to get there as far as the trucks running down the asphalt with the blade on it anyway. I mean,
Well, it's not just that. It's
It would be,
It's the cost.
we would be
Your
responsible
parent.
for whenever,
Right.
yeah.
all
yeah.
But I think, you know, the whole concept of economic development, we're supposed to be thinking about where it's likely, and if we put a nice road out there, just like he asked about the roads, you know, so if you put nice roads out there, it probably will develop faster.
So I heard you make the comment to do the U around. Will that have like a piece to go south and on into Timber Creek and,
To that second exit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into, yes.
so it'll be the U
But it
plus
won't, but it won't, that's not including anything up 11th Terrace to Dawson Drive. It does not include that.
Right.
It's just
the U
Keystone.
and the
Yeah,
one up
and
12th
to
Road.
the second entrance
Timber
of
Creek.
Keystone.
Yeah, so Timber
Addition.
Creek Drive, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was
That's
just
an ideal plan.
Right.
I'm just saying, in
Yeah,
an ideal world.
Right.
Yeah.
So we just have to see if that target area is going to work. If the target, we have to go to Plan B and see what happens. So you guys are all okay with me doing this target thing, what these homes?
Can we table this and I'll just think about it a little bit? You know, we go from one, we're not even finished with the one. And I realize that you're looking ahead, but let's just hang on. Let's see how this, or if we're even gonna, does it even sound like we're gonna get it? Are they making noise that we're gonna get it? The first one?
It'll be years off probably if we do.
No,
get
we
it.
won't, everybody, all applications have to be until November.
Till November. Okay.
How soon do they decide? How fast, do you know?
I think it came out in January, didn't it?
I would say January, February.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, so it takes them a while to decide.
Yeah, because they probably get a ton of applications.
I had no idea.
Well, I just thought we should be prepared to go the next round.
Well, I'm not saying we're not gonna, but let's just, this is from where we had this first discussion and now we're jumping right into the other one. Let's just hang on, let's talk about it, think about it a little bit.
Well, the survey, it could tell us, hey, this won't work.
But are you gonna get it done in, you know,
Well, you want,
amount of time?
you want to give them like 6 weeks, because they, assuming that Emily's the one that mails it out and it goes back to Emily, it would be 6 weeks until we actually say who hasn't responded, and then we have to go to those homes and say, or if somebody refuses, I ask her the question, on the other ones, and they refuse, we just went to the next name on the list, but here.
There's no backup list for this one.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like we have to go talk to them and encourage them to fill it out. So I'm just saying, it might be, even though it's only 8 or 9 homes, it might be a little bit of work. So,
And we would probably be, because we sent the last ones out. They're not gonna pay, I don't think they're gonna pay for the stamps, even though they're like 9. Actually, it'd be 18 stamps. So, I mean, that's just how we.
yeah, I just don't know if the surveys have to go back to Emily or to us.
They don't, they could come to here, or they could go to Emily. It was just that feeling of anonymity that they
I know,
went to.
but
went to
you're
Emily.
almost gonna have to put it on, and the name and address on it rather than a control number. Anyway, I have that call into Emily. Darlene, do you want us to go ahead and find out?
Yes, that way we know one way or the other.
Yeah, and you
And
don't?
that does not say we're approving a project.
Right, it's
Or
just
even
taking the
going
next
to go
step to
ahead.
plan. Bobby, you don't want to?
If she puts it like that, okay.
It's just a plan step.
It's a plan.
Just-
Are you okay with it, Terry?
I feel if we snooze, you lose.
Okay. Diane?
I think we need to go ahead with it.
Kevin?
I think we need to
Jason?
proceed.
Okay. So I will work with Austin. We have to, the cover letter's going to have to be really tricky to explain the nuances of this and to encourage them to do it. All right. That is all I have for street. Who else has street?
Go ahead, Diane.
Over here by the horse, why do we not have a trash can or those things for them to put cigarette butts in instead of people just throwing stuff on the ground when we go over there and pull weeds and stuff like that?
It's awful.
There's no place to put stuff. We have to,
There's not a trash can.
I know, there's not a
There
trash
used to
can there.
be.
there's
there
no
used to
trash
be
can by
a
the Center
trash
Street
can there,
corridor,
and they used to
or
have
there's
like a
no,
cigarette butt
Really?
on top, and I
On
don't,
where?
by the
Oh, on top of
horse.
the trash
On the
can?
horse.
On top of
side.
the trash can on the Broadway side. There used to be one there. You know what, though, since I am right there, it's not as bad as it used to be, with the trash and stuff, but I don't know.
We could put it
People
by
are
the building.
inconsiderate.
We could put it by the building somewhere, couldn't we?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could
Or
just.
at one building, some building.
Just, don't even put it back, just put it back, put that big one back that had the
Well-
cigarette butts on the top of it, the trash can, that's the big one. So,
There is one by Bobby's building, but when we're over there pulling weeds and
Yeah.
stuff, we've got to walk clear over there to Bobby's building or else put it in a can and we got to carry it over there. I mean, and then Cheryl, she's out there, she picks up the cigarette butts and, because there's no place to put the cigarette butts, people just throw them out there, you know, that's silly.
But you
I
don't
thought
want
they
it to.
used to when they cleaned the weeds out of the corridor that they, you're talking about trash or the weeds? Trash?
Trash.
Trash.
Yeah, well, we.
Because our guys come down to get it from.
Yes, yeah, we do, that's not a problem. No, we don't want a place to put the weeds, we take care of that. But
It's
this is
trash
this is for
itself.
trash, people just throw the trash.
Well, you say there's a trash can by the building and that's not enough?
there's one right in front of, well, the real estate office now that's on the Broadway side, but there used to be another trash can.
Over behind the murals?
No.
About right in the middle, there.
By the pony?
No, not quite
On the
to
Broadway
pole.
side?
On the Broadway side, there used to be
a
another
table
one.
there and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and there was a trash can there, and
Okay.
people utilize it. People would
There's
go
this-
out.
There's
and
those
I
little
used-
picnic tables there and stuff, but there's no trash can by it.
There
so-
used to be though, and I don't
Yeah,
know
to the
why.
east of it.
There's
We can
nothing
put it right
now.
by our bike rides, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, it's just not as convenient, because there's not one there, so people don't see it, so they just,
Throw it on the ground.
They don't want to
Yeah.
walk down in front of my building and throw it away. They just, and there's nothing when you go west, so they just dump it.
yeah, there's nothing down because, in front by Joe's or Dave Lynn's building or anything down that way. The only one there is by in front of the Realty Place or Bobby's. And so, you know, when we pick up stuff, we
on
got
that?
it. And I don't know if there's anything on the other side of the,
I think
on
there
the,
is in,
on the
there
south
is in
side.
front of the Main
Michelle's?
Street building. Mhm.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but, no.
Well,
I
there
don't
was, because it was overflowing with beer cans at the last,
Well, yeah, they probably had it out there for the,
there was one that.
Okay, well, fine, look into
Yeah,
that.
we
You were
need
looking at
something
trash
around
cans in that area?
Yes.
Okay. Water, wastewater, are our new test stations working well? I
Yes.
never have heard.
Yep.
Yes? Okay.
Madam Mayor, back on streets.
Oh, yes?
Has anybody else noticed the patch that was in on the highway? Or is it just me that thinks it's
You think
rough?
it's a weave? I heard you
The
say.
new one?
The new patch.
Does a little bit, yeah.
There is a wave in it.
So,
I thought I was the only one.
I never,
Yeah,
so,
I don't feel I go like this, but I can feel it, yes.
so what do you think we should do about it, Kev?
I don't know if they need to come in and mill it out. I don't know, but to me, there's a wave in it.
You mean mill it and to just make it
mill-
smooth?
Yeah.
As long as we're not creating a water hole.
I don't want to create a water hole. To me, when I drove over it the first time, I thought, it's not smooth like the
Well,
street
you
originally
shouldn't give them
was.
that check. Or their check is in here until you're happy with it,
So-
right?
That's just my point. Maybe it's just my truck. I don't know.
Where's it at?
The new patch they put
the
in
new
in front
patch
of
on
United Bank.
36.
By what?
Between the water tower and.
Up at United
Oh.
Bank, the strip they
Oh,
put
I
down the
haven't-
highway.
I didn't pay attention. Got it.
Well, I mean, we just approved in the ordinance
Oh, I know.
that payment, so do you want to hold that payment till
Okay.
you come back with
Yeah.
us and give us an answer?
Yep.
Okay,
I mean, maybe it's just me
yeah, I think
and
we,
my vehicle. I don't know.
I'll
well,
pay
they need to do it
attention.
right.
Pay attention, yeah. And when they plan on starting to seal streets, Austin?
They're still working on the third, but they've trimmed the third route. They've been crack sealing.
I
And
know this has been cracked down. I just was curious how long till they started sealing.
as soon as we can get to it. I mean, that's not the way to put it, but as soon as we get done with the third
the
route,
third route.
we're
maybe we should do the first and second so we don't lose out of time. I'm just worried if the cold weather hits, we have to do it when it's hot.
it's
August is still a good month to seal.
Yeah.
right,
But we're already at August 12th.
I know.
right, and we've already trimmed Route 1 of trees, so we're well on our way to get there. I don't know at what point we're in crack sealing, but
Well,
So
if
I
you
just-
start thinking you're not going to get all 3 done, at least get 1 and 2 done.
right.
Yeah.
Okay? Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, we'll just put seal soon. How about that? Okay, anybody else have anything for water, wastewater?
Yeah, but I forgot where it was. Never mind.
We can come back.
We'll come back.
Okay, Parks and Rec. Jason, do you want to report on that since Gina's not here?
Yeah, we had a meeting with the two engineering firms about the stormwater at Lakeview, and just phone interviews. Honestly, we had a hard time kind of deciding between the two. I think both of them were fine, all the references checked out. I think we gave a slight edge to Schwab Eaton, right?
We did, and it was a hard,
It was
well,
close.
so we looked at all this material, and we couldn't, and then we got all these references, still couldn't decide, and then we did a phone interview, and it was still hard. And so, because it was so close, we felt like you guys should see what they're doing and why it was so close. But I think what Schwab gave us was more of phases of improvements, planned phases, rather than the big picture and not, because when
They
we
seem
talked,
more willing, to limit it to something that we can afford, hopefully, and not let it get more out of control into something
Yeah.
that.
so he said he could
balloons.
step it for us. And then, I tried to get him to nail down how, leveling one field, and man, he wouldn't say 100,000 or 200,000
No.
or 300,000. I kind of freaked out.
Very expensive.
So it might be $1 million project up there by the time we get done.
I know that blue
With Schwab
dot.
Eaton, you mean?
Well,
Anybody?
to level the field
For the
for the whole thing.
You don't know.
Not, I'm sorry, not to do the engineering, but to do all the
Oh, for
improvements.
everything.
You know,
That
the
was-
black ones are pretty level.
So, but they didn't commit to anything as far, yeah, I tried to get them, but, anyway,
Well, you travel around a lot of these ball fields set up similar to ours, all three fields are on the same level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all those pictures were all
Yeah.
on the same level.
Yeah.
They were all nice,
Yeah.
flat fields.
And ours, is here, here, and here.
and that's what we asked them on the telephone interview. Have you done tiered fields? And they were like, oh yeah, we've done tiered fields.
Yeah, they all mentioned that looking at it, it was, a little bit of a challenging. I mean, they know what they're, a rock ledge, they know what they're kind of in for, so.
The hard part is, when you think about it, back in the 1970s, when we built it, it was a $100,000 project, and now to redo it, but that's not just the engineering, so that's just to do everything, but we're not gonna get too crazy yet. We
Right.
just need to hire somebody to do the stormwater at this point. So,
They seem to think we went too big of an area for drainage on it, or did they say anything about that?
too big of an area, oh, you mean when we gave them the
Yeah, we
streets?
gave them the streets to go
No,
by.
and we did point out that we're putting the fire station up there, the 9,400 of,
Which-
plus the 50-foot.
Which would be extra runoff
Yeah.
and quicker, and the metal roof and the concrete pad. and-
They kind of said, that's what we do,
Right.
and so, neither one of them was fearful of it. And both of them could do it. We just leaned slightly to Schwab Eaton, but you guys, it was a hard call.
So
We
probably-
did check out references though, and nobody said bad about either one, so that
Both
made
real
it,
reputable firms.
that made it even harder, yeah,
So either one's probably going to do a good job.
right. Well, you have to make a decision on who you want to hire. We need a motion here.
You're on the committee,
I'll
buddy.
make a motion, we go with Schwab Eaton for the stormwater engineering for Lakeview.
I'll second it.
Okay, you guys have any discussion? More discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, okay.
We don't
Yeah.
have a cost.
We don't have a cost.
We don't have costs, we just approve requests
By
for,
qualification.
Okay. I just want to make sure we got the
Okay.
money in the,
yeah. The only other thing I have is,
know where we at. Cemetery.
we're still on Parks and Rec.
Parks and-
I had, mosquito squad, making a note, mosquito squad's coming back on the 14th, right?
Around the 14th. Yep,
Okay,
yep.
so that's good. Before the tailgate, that's good.
Yep.
And then, what happened with the lap swim, do you know?
We're making sure we can fit all the repairs in that we can do this spring. I'm thinking if we can extend it maybe a week, maybe.
Is that your compromise? Give them a week?
I think so,
What, a week
for
meaning
lap
when?
swing,
For, what, meaning?
after the 30th. So right now,
So the first week in September you're including in that?
I think we can
Maybe.
compromise on that.
That's your compromise?
I think so.
It's always good to compromise with
Right.
this, with the, so.
Yeah.
Anything you give them, they'll be happy for,
Are they going,
right, Diane?
Yes.
they gotta reseal the bottom of all the poles again before winter? The ones
That's
are bad?
included in the repairs, more than just that.
Well, I
So,
know,
Yeah,
but the poles and stuff, what I'm worried about, so they
Right.
don't get water and it crack out
right.
around them.
Okay, so mosquitoes, that's all I had for Parks and Rec. You guys have anything? Cemetery and airport, two things, quick things. One is, we've had a lot, and I sent you an email on this, about the cremations. There's been a lot more people that have been cremated, and I didn't know if we needed to build, they have these things like at the Topeka Cemetery called, what was the word?
Crematorium?
Well, it wasn't a crematorium, it was a storage where you put the urns. Columbarium, and you put the urns into it, and it's like a,
Oh,
And
instead
I-
of in the ground?
instead of going in,
Yeah, so
yeah.
it's above the ground.
Yeah, and I didn't know, I sent an email to Dale, did he respond?
No.
But, there's a lot more cremations lately, and I
What's
didn't,
the cost of?
I don't know, I just was trying to figure out
Yes.
if we should have a cemetery meeting to see if there's a need for that.
It's a cost in space, because right now you can put up to 2 in a burial plot, where so that's, how big is a burial plot, do you know?
I don't.
Okay, it's
6 by 3.
pretty decent
Yeah.
size space for just 2 urns. Whereas what she's talking to, Columbrium, I think. So what, you basically put a space for an urn. And what this creates is, one, you're taking up less space of cemetery. And if they want to move the urn somewhere else, they can move the urn somewhere else.
But the one they had from Topeka Cemetery was just a square box, that looks like.
Mausoleum.
It looks like a mausoleum.
Yeah, but it
Mausoleum.
looked like it had little drawers. But anyway, so I'll wait to see what Dale thinks that there's a need.
I'd probably have the cemetery.
Board meet,
Yeah.
committee meet, okay.
Can the plot size, or the requirement, right now it's only 2, could that be changed to, say, 4?
The deal is, even if we put 2 in one space, you only get a tombstone that's the size of a single tombstone. And a lot of people want a big tombstone that they can put a lot more names and a lot more detail on, which means they buy 2 spaces because they want a big tombstone. So if you put 4 people, they're gonna somehow, to get their tombstones in there would not, or to get all 4 names, or if they're not related, or, that would be, if they would all 4 be in one family and they'd be okay with just listing names, but everybody has these big elaborate tombstones, they don't fit. But that's the only reason it's limited. You can also put a casket and 1 urn in there. I mean, they'll let that be as well. If one's in a casket, they'll let you come back and put an urn on, but you still only get 1 tombstone space. That's
The limiting factor.
The limiting factor, so I don't know what they would think about putting them in
I don't
that
know.
thing you're talking about, yeah.
I was
if they
just
want a
thinking,
tombstone.
for a long time, I never saw here in Marysville, I didn't think we were having very many cremations, and I didn't think it was
yeah.
necessary, but we seem to have had a lot lately.
There's a
so-
lot of them.
Oh,
Okay, so we'll have a committee meeting and see what they say. All right, and the only other thing is, I thought about, Don and Leanna Stingemeyer bought those flags for the Avenue of Flags at the cemetery. I was thought, instead of giving them a plaque, we could just put a little plaque on that kiosk that says Avenue of Flags donated by Don and Leanna Stingemeyer. What do you guys think?
I think it'd be great.
We need to give them some recognition,
yeah.
and instead of giving them a plaque to take home, I think you'd actually get more recognition on that kiosk.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who stop and look at the kiosks.
You guys in favor of that?
We actually need a new kiosk
I was just
out there,
gonna
though.
say, if you want to talk about building whatever that word is you're using. I would rather you build a building to put
Well,
the kiosk.
okay, but why don't we make have a motion to make a plaque for that, and we can always transfer it to
We can transfer
anyone.
the plaque.
So is there a motion to
Yeah,
have
I'll
a
make a motion, we make a plaque,
for the donation
donation of the flags, for the Avenue of Flags,
I
and
second
put
it.
on the kiosk.
kiosk or whatever we have?
Yeah, whatever we're gonna do.
And you seconded it, Darlene? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 6-0, thank you very much. Anybody else for cemetery and airport? Okay, police and fire. First, I want to say Chief Ackerman and Sergeant Oldie did an amazing job at the Sterling Connection at the hospital. There were about 60 people there about scams and fraud, and the guys did a great job. So I just want to congratulate them and bring that to everybody's attention. Also, I want to thank the fire department. They applied for that grant and got it, and it was a really nice letter to the fire department from Cambridge Place that was in the info packet. And also I want to thank PD's trying to get a grant for the radios. So every time they apply for a grant, it's less tax dollars we have to use for those functions. And lastly, the third firehouse meeting is this Friday with the at 3 to 4. So far, I've been really impressed with Clint from BG, and he comes in totally prepared, and so he should have a design, and then he should be bringing something to the council on the 26th, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, so just to give you an update on that.
A
And,
design, you said?
Yeah,
At the police and
Not
fire,
a design.
it will be a layout.
Don't mention specific, they'll bring a presentation.
A presentation?
Yes.
Okay. That-
at the.
It'll be a
police and-
plan.
I
layout.
would just say
Okay.
a presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
They're
just-
gonna come bring a presentation.
Yes.
And at the police and fire committee meeting, we more or less decided with a rectangle structure is
Yeah.
what.
For
is what
utilization
they're
of
looking
space,
for.
he
Yes.
pointed out that there was too much dead space for the L, and it does give us the possibility to add on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stalls.
And then at our next meeting, we should get some financial information about estimate of
Cost
costs.
per square foot. yeah.
And it'll come to the council soon.
In 2 weeks.
Okay. Police and fire, anything else? Admin and finance? Appointments. I have appointments, annual appointments, retroactive till, what? To 5/1/19 is Craig Olson as city attorney and Ken Lemro as judge. And they will run for their annual from 5/1/19 to 4/30/20. And then the second one, our city prosecutor, Libby Baskerville-Hilgen, would be retroactive 5/1/19 to 8/14/19, which is court date this Wednesday. She has resigned after that court date, and Megan Verasic, the new county attorney, has agreed to be our city prosecutor, so she will be effective 8/15/19 to 4/30/20, and they'll work together in the transition time together, I'm sure. But Libby, she's talked to Libby, knows the court cases, and agreed to do it, and she just agreed to do it today, so that's why you don't have it written down anywhere.
I was just gonna
But those are my appointments.
move to approve the mayor's
We
appointments.
gonna be a discussion.
You discuss after make a motion.
I second it.
Now you can discuss.
Okay, discussion?
I mean, the judge has been in that position for a few years. I mean, don't we want to every few years just kind of change around instead of having the same person in there year after year?
Well,
Shake things up a little bit.
Has anybody showed any interest?
No,
Position?
I specifically asked Libby if the judge was fair and just, and she said yes. And then I met with Ruth, and I asked her, first off, Libby gave great accolades to Ruth Mashmeyer and the job that she does, so we need to appreciate that because we don't ever see her doing it, but Libby said she does a phenomenal job, so thank you, Ruth. But I went and met with Ruth, clerk of the court, and said, is the judge fair and just? And she said yes. So based on that, I went ahead and called him and asked to reappoint him. At this point in time, since we're doing retroactively, it's really just 8 months going forward. And then at May 1st, it'll be another time to decide. if you want to appoint them or not. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to accept those. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
5-1. Okay, that's all I have. Any reason for an executive session? All right, round table, the only thing I have is the parade on the 13th. If you have any ideas, let me know. That's coming up soon,
Yeah.
like in a month. So if you have an idea of what we should do, let me know. I don't know who we're playing, so I have to think about that. All right, that's my only comment. Darlene?
No, nothing further.
Bobby? Nope. Terry?
No.
Diane?
No.
Kevin?
Nothing this evening.
Jason? Oh, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Opposed?
9:20.
9:20.